this is now the part 4 of solving quadratic equations by factoring with leading coefficient of more than 2 or equal to 2. More than or equal to 2. Okay, so this is still in a trinomial pa rin po. Ha? Okay, so I will give you some examples of today's solutions. Okay, so we have a given quadratic equation 2x squared plus 5x plus 3 is equal to 0. So we are asked to get the solution of this equation po. Okay, so now let's factor out 2x squared plus 5x plus 3 is equal to 0. So paano na nga po ba ulit nag-factor out ng ganitong equation if we have a leading coefficient po? Okay, so first thing we need to do is to multiply the leading coefficient, this one. Okay, multiply the leading coefficient to the last term of the equation. Okay, so multiply the leading coefficient to the last term of the equation. If it is in the standard form of the equation po, ha? Okay, so now let's multiply for us to get the factor of this expression. So 2 times 3 is 6. Okay, so now, ito po yung ipa-factor out natin for us to find the middle term of the equation. Okay, but before that, okay, in factoring, okay, I'm going to erase this one po muna because we are going to use blue pen. Ma-arte po kasi. Ayan. Ayan po. Okay, factor out po muna natin yung middle term, ay yung first term. No. So don't forget to put the parentheses. Okay, don't mind the exponent po muna. Ha? Huwag po muna natin papansinin si exponent. Ang gagawin po muna natin is to multiply or to copy the first term, not the exponent. Okay, so 2x, let's copy it first. Kopyahin lang po muna natin. Okay, so hindi pa naman po yan yung final answer natin. Okay, so now we need to find the factor of the last term, ay yung pinag-multiply po natin, yung product ng leading coefficient natin in the last term of the equation, which is 6. Okay, so what do you think is the factor of 6 na kapag pinag-add po natin yung factor, it will become 5. Okay, so we have 2 and 3. 2 times 3 is equal to 6. Tama po. Okay, kapag pinag-add po natin ang dalawang number na to, it will give us 5. Okay, kapag po nakuha na po natin yung sum po ng dalawang factor, nakapareho naman po ng middle term, kokopyahin na po natin yung factor ng 6 na kinuha po natin. Okay, so we have positive 2. Okay. Okay po. So we have positive 2 and positive 3. Kahit ano pong mauna, pwede. Okay, now, hindi pa po ito yung pinaka-final factor natin because 2x times 2x is 4x squared. Tama po. Okay, ngayon, titignan po natin sa dalawang factor na ito, sa dalawang term na ito, kung sino po dito ang meron pa, yung pwede po natin i-simplify. Ma'am, paano po tayo mag-simplify? Okay, so sa isang term po, okay, sa isang term na meron tayo, which is 2x plus 2, titignan po natin kung meron po ba silang common factor. Yes, they have common factor, which is 2. Tama po ba? Okay, so pwede po natin siyang i-divide by 2. Okay? Kung meron po silang common factor, don't forget to divide it po, ha? Okay, so cancel this out. It will give us x. 2 divided by 2 is positive 1. Okay, so si 2 ay divisible by 2. Ay divisible po ba kay 3? Okay, no. So they don't have common factor. So kopyahin lang po natin siya, 2x plus 3. Okay, don't forget to equate it to 0 po ha. Equate it to 0. So the factor of 2x squared plus 5x plus 3 is equal to 0 is x plus 1 times 2x plus 3 is equal to 0. So this is now the factor of this equation. So now we are going to find the solution of this equation. Okay, by doing that, we need to equate this two terms to 0. So we have x plus 1 is equal to 0, and then 2x plus 3 is equal to 0. Okay, so transpose it to the right side of the equation. It will give us x is equal to negative 1, and then 2x plus 3, transpose it to the right side of the equation. It will give us, okay, it will give us 2x is equal to negative 3, isn't it? Okay, so now this is the value of x in the to the first equation, or to the first term, and then wala pa po itong final. So let's simplify, let's divide it by 2. So x is equal to negative 3 over 2. So it means that the solution, okay, the solution of 2x squared plus 5x plus 3 is equal to 0 is negative 1 and negative 3 halves. Okay, so kung kapag po isusulat natin, hindi ko na kasi sinulat sa first from part 2 to part 3, okay? So kapag isusulat mo natin, the solution is negative 1 and negative 3 over 2. Okay, so yan po yung solution ng ating equation. Kapag po sinubstitute niyo po yan, it will equal to 0. Okay, now let's proceed to the second example that we have. Okay, so we have 3x squared minus x minus 10. Okay, so what is the first thing we need to consider? Okay, so we need to multiply the leading coefficient to the last term of the equation. So we have 3, this one. 3 times negative 10 is negative 30. Okay, so negative 30. Okay, so now we need to get the factor of negative 30, that if we get the sum of that factor, it will give us negative 1. Okay, don't forget that there's an imaginary 1 here. So we have negative 1. So dapat po yun yung makuha natin. So mag-isip po tayo ng factor ng negative 30. So the factors of negative 30 are negative 30 times 1. Okay, tama po, negative 30 times 1, negative 15 times 2. Okay, so negative 15 times 2, if we add that number, it will give us negative 13, isn't it? Okay, so now, what if we use 6 times 5 as 30? Okay, so the other factor of negative 30 is negative 5 times 6, and or 5 times negative 6. Okay. So, mas malapit po siya sa 1. Okay? So, titignan natin mabuti. Negative 5 plus 6 is? Negative 5 plus 6 is? Okay, positive 1. Okay? 5 minus 6 is negative 1. So, saan po dito yung may kapareho ng middle term? So, this one. Tama po? Ito, negative 1, negative 1. So, the factor that we are going to use is positive 5 and negative 6. Okay, so katulad po ng ginawa natin kanina, okay, papabayaan muna natin si exponent. Ang i-distribute po muna natin ay si 3x. Okay, so 3x. And then put positive 5 and negative 6 in the term. Okay, in the factor. Okay, so may common factor po ba si 3x plus 5? Okay, so wala. May common factor po ba si 3x minus 6? Yes po, may common factor po sila. Ano pong common factor ng 3 and negative 6? Okay, so the common factor is 3. Okay, so 3. Okay, now, copy the first term. We have 3x plus 5. Don't forget to put parentheses. And then, parentheses again, 3 divided by 3 is x. 3x divided by 3 is x. Negative 6 divided by 3 is negative 2. Don't forget to equate it to 0. So now, 3x plus 5 times x minus 2 is equal to 0 is the factor of 3x squared minus x minus 10 is equal to 0. So now, let's equate it to 0 po. So 3x plus 5 is equal to 0, then x minus 2 is equal to 0. Okay, transpose positive 5 to the right side of the equation. It will give us 3x is equal to negative 5 over 3x. Okay, so we need to, not x. We need to get the value of x. Kaya po, i-divide natin siya kay 3. Okay, so divide both sides by 3. So it will give us x is equal to negative 5 over 3. And then this one, okay, so let's equate this. Okay, so transpose it to the right side of the equation. It will give us x is equal to 2. Positive, okay, x is equal to positive 2. So the solution of the equation 3x squared minus x minus 10 is equal to 0 is equal to negative 5 over 3 and 2. Ganyan. Okay, nakukuha po, or x is equal to negative 5 over 3 and x is equal to 2. Okay, do you want more example po? Okay, so now let's proceed to another set of examples. So we have 6x squared plus 13x plus 6 is equal to 0. Okay? Sana hindi pa rin po kayo nalilito. Okay. Ayan po. So we have 6x squared plus 13x plus 6 is equal to 0. What is the first thing we need to consider? Okay. So kapag meron tayong leading coefficient, we need to multiply the leading coefficient to the last term of the equation. So 6 times 6, this one, 6 times 6 is 36. Okay. So maghahanap po tayo ngayon ng maghahanap po tayo ng factor ni 36 na kapag pinag-multiply po na, ay kapag kinuha po natin yung sum, ay 13. Ano kayang pwede natin i-multiply? So 6 times 6, positive 6 times 6 is 36, but 6 plus 6 is 12. Dahil positive siya, positive number, 36 times 1 is 36, but if we get the sum of that two number that is 37. Okay, so ano pa pong multiple or factor ng 36? So, susulat ko na nga, 6 times 6, 36 times 1, 18 times 2, ano pa po? 9 times 4. Okay, so 6 plus 6 is 12, 36 plus 1 is 37, 18 plus 2 is 20, 9 plus 4 is 13. So, saan po dyan ang kukuhanin nating factor? Okay, so ang kukuhanin po nating factor ay 9 and 4. This one only, 9 and 4. Okay, so pahayaan po muna natin si po ay si 2. Okay po? Hayaan ba muna natin si 2? Okay, so hayaan muna natin si 2. Tignan nga natin. So, pwede po ba nating kuhanin ang factor ni 6? Can we get the factor of 6 na po? Okay, so what do you think? Okay, so very good. Katulad po ng ginagawa po natin kanina, okay? Katulad ng ginagawa natin kanina, hayaan muna natin sa exponent. Ang isusulat ba lang po natin ay yung ating variables tsaka yung ating leading coefficient. So, we have 6x and then 6x is equal to 0. So, what are the factors of 36 that we need to use? That is 9 and 4. So, positive 9 and positive 4. Okay, so do you think class that meron po ba silang greatest common factor? Yes, meron po silang greatest common factor. So ano pong number ang pwede nating i-divide kay 6 at pwede rin nating i-divide kay 9? Okay, very good. So we can divide them both by 3. So they are divisible by 3. Okay, so 6x divided by 3 is 2x. 9 divided by 3 is positive 3. Then this one. Do you think class, meron po ba silang common factor or greatest common factor? Yes. Pwede po natin silang i-divide both kay 2. So they are divisible by 2. Okay, so let's divide them by 2 and 2. So 6 divided by 2 is 3x. So 4 divided by 2 is positive. 2 is equal to 0. So now let's equate them to 0. So 2x plus 3 is equal to 0, and then 3x plus 2 is equal to 0. So now let's transpose positive 3 to the right side of the equation. It will give us 2x is equal to negative 3, then equate, then divide them both side by 2. Okay, so x is equal to negative 3 over 2. So this time naman, itong kabilang side naman po, let's transpose positive to the right side of the equation. We have 3x is equal to negative 2. Then divide both side by 3 para po maiwan si x. Okay, so x is equal to negative 2 over 3, such that the solution of this equation is negative 3 over 2 and negative 2 over 3. So this is the solution or the values of x. I'm so sorry. So x is equal to negative 3 over 2 and x is equal to negative 2 over 3. Okay, so now let's move on to the next example that we have. Last example that we have. Okay, so we have 8x squared plus 18x minus 35 is equal to 0. So mataas to, malaki-laking number to. So you need to multiply the leading coefficient of the first term to the last term, or to the coefficient of the last term. Okay, so 8 times negative 35. What is 8 times negative 35? So okay, so 8 times negative 35 is 200. What? 200 negative 280. Okay, so we need to find the factor of negative 280 that will give us positive 80. So what do you think is the factor of negative 280 na kapag kinuha po natin ay sum ay magiging 80? Okay, so what do you think is the factor of negative 280 that if we get the sum or the difference of the two numbers, it will give us positive 80? Okay, so 280 is divisible by 0, right? By 10. Okay, so let's try negative 10 times 28. Tama? Because like 10 times, negative 10 times 28 is negative 280. Then let's try positive 10. Negative 28 times 10 will also give us negative 280. So let's find the sum of these two numbers. Negative 10 plus 28, it will give us positive 18. Then negative 28 times 10, plus 10, it will give us negative 18. So what do you think is the factor that we need to use? Is it positive 18 or negative 18? Yes, the positive 18. So that is negative 10 and 28. So now let's try negative 10. Let's write negative 10 and 28. But before that, okay, katulad po ng ginagawa natin sa mga unang example, don't forget to write the first term. 8x. Pabayaan niyo po muna si 2. Okay, so bibigyan natin siya. Lalagyan natin dito si negative 10, then si positive 28. Okay, so is equal to 0. So now let's find the factor of this, or the greatest common factor of this every term. Okay, so what do you think is the number that we need to divide from these two numbers? Okay, positive 2. Okay, so we can divide them by 2. So it will give us 8 divided by 2 is 4x. Then negative 10 divided by 2 is negative 5. Okay? So now, dito naman po, ano po pa yung pwede nating i-divide sa dalawang yan? Pwede natin i-divide ang 4 greatest common factor, right? Okay, so we can also divide by 4. Mhm. Okay, or by 8 by 4. By 4. Okay, so 4 divided by 4. So we have 4x plus 7 is equal to 0. I plus 7 is equal to 0. Okay, tama ba yung pagkaka-divide ko? 8 divided by 4 is 2. Okay, not 4. Okay, so let's erase this one. Okay, so we have 2x plus 7 is equal to 0. Then 4x minus 5 times 2x plus 7 is equal to 0 is the factor of 8x squared plus 18x minus 35 is equal to 0. So now let's equate them to 0. 4x minus 5 is equal to 0 and 2x plus 7 is equal to 0. Okay, so transform. I transpose negative 5 to the right side of the equation. Meron tayong 4x is equal to positive 5. Then this one, okay, mamaya na po yan. Then divide both side by 4. Then the equation or the solution or the first solution is 5 over 4. So next, let's equate 7 to the right side of the equation. It will give us 2x is equal to negative 7. Then divide both sides by 2. Then x is equal to negative 7 over 2. So the solution set of this quadratic equation is 5 over 4 and negative 7 over 2. So this is now the solution of the equation. 8x squared plus 18x minus 35. I hope class, I hope po marami kayong natutunan about solving quadratic equation by factoring. So this is now the last part of the last example of solving quadratic equation by factoring. So see you again in our next video about solving quadratic equation by completing the square. Okay, so ibang lesson naman. So goodbye and God bless grade 9 students. Have a nice day. Mhm.